everyone, Mr. Gray through IS here, and I am back with another video. Now this one is a little special. It's one of my favorite videos to make. It was definitely my favorite one when I made one last time, and it is a mod list video. Now the last time I made a mod list video was 2 years ago, and I just went back and watched it one more time, and oh my gosh, my car looked so different back then. And I've done a lot more modifications since that video. So here's to another mod list video, and I hope you guys enjoy. Now, as usual, I'll have everything linked in the description, including my old video. I'll also have my LinkTree linked in the description, and I have a whole mod list section on that LinkTree, and it gives a full list of all my modifications, along with the links to some of my more frequently asked modifications. Now, if you remember from the first mod list video, I have an official sheet right here with all the mods, and along with each mod, I'll put the price in this bottom corner right there. So keep your eye down there if you want to know the price for each thing, or you can click on each link individually in the description. Now to start off, anything that I mentioned that's from Tanzaworks, you can go ahead and use code GRAY through IS to save 10% off your entire order from them. So with that out of the way, let's go ahead and get started. Now this was a game changer. My tinted windshield. My windshield is tinted with 30% ceramic film. It is amazing for keeping the heat out. It is great for a little bit of privacy. And at this percent, you can still see out of it at nighttime pretty easily. So I'm super glad I went with some windshield tint to tie together the rest of my tinted windows. And it just makes the car look so much more aggressive. Now the car was ceramic coated in the first modification video, but since then I've paint corrected the whole car and re-ceramic coated everything. The plastics, the paint, the carbon fiber, the wheels, windows, everything. So this car is extremely hydrophobic and extremely shiny, as you can tell. Speaking of protecting it, my car has PPF on the headlights, so that protects with any rock chips or debris that might hit them, and it keeps them super hydrophobic as well. Now, wheel spacers. This is a thing that so many people ask me about, and I highly recommend 20mm wheel spacers all around, unless you're pretty slammed like me, or you ride pretty low, or you're on bags. Then 15mm might be your best bet. That's what I have right now, is 15mm spacers all around. Now that is super tight with the front and rear, and I think if I did any more, it would cause some damage when I air it out. So 15mm is what I'm working with, paired with my air suspension. Now, speaking of suspension, I installed RCF lower control arm bushings. This helps tremendously with that inner tire wear issue with the Lexus IS. They ride super smooth, just like OEM IS ones, except when you're braking hard, you kind of feel it's not as squishy. If you're throwing yourself into turns, it's just a little stiffer, and it still keeps a great ride quality, but I have had zero inner tire wear since the installation of those. Now last but definitely not least with suspension, as you can tell, if you remember on my first modification video, I was on stock suspension. So currently I'm on Airlift Performance suspension. So I have Airlift struts, Airlift management, everything Airlift. I am on their 3P system. I have a 4-gallon polish tank, dual black compressors, and 1/4 inch lines. You can see a little bit more about all that Airlift stuff on my Airlift installation YouTube video. Now many of you might ask, what did you have before Airlift? Because you still seemed low before you got air suspension. I had RSR Super Down springs. Now those were great. I had no issues with them. They are definitely low. I'd say the front lip was about 3 inches off the ground, and it was definitely a learning curve with driving and taking driveways and avoiding bumps, but it was great and I loved them. But at the end of the day, I knew I always wanted air suspension, and I knew that the RSR Super Downs were just going to be a midpoint until I got air suspension, and I did. Now one subtle one, but one that I really like, is the black lug nuts. I have flat black lug nuts instead of the chrome ones, and it kind of just blends in with all my other black accents. And it's those little add-ons like that that just do a lot for the vehicle. And another thing I have around this area is center cap decals. So as you can see, I have a gloss black center cap decal with sort of a gray Lexus logo in the middle. So that kind of adds to my chrome delete aspect I have with this car. There's not much chrome on this car anymore, and that helps add to the kind of sleek and blacked out look that I'm going for. Now, speaking of blacked out, you might be able to tell my roof is black. So I have done a gloss black roof wrap. I did it myself, so it wasn't too expensive. I just paid for the vinyl and the knifeless tape and that type of stuff, but it actually does a lot for the car. In some lighting, you can't even tell that it has a gloss black roof wrap, and in some lighting, it is super apparent. This one, it's actually kind of apparent. You can see it's black. If I get up close, you can see it's black. But from a top-down view or from a rear view, it just pulls the whole one big sloping black from the back window all the way to the front window. It just pulls it all together, and it's a super nice addition to this car. Now going with gloss black, I have wrapped the chrome around the windows gloss black. I did that myself. It wasn't too difficult, just a little time consuming. I have wrapped the chrome trim around the grille gloss black. Again, did it myself. Not too hard, just a little time consuming. But those two additions right there, that takes like 50% of the chrome look away from the car. The only chrome that I really have on the car is right in the headlights, that little chrome accent. But I actually like those, and same with the little eyeball looking things in the headlights. Those kind of give it a little demon eye look, and it looks pretty cool in my opinion. Now, around the headlight area, you can see I have carbon fiber eyebrows, or eyelids, whatever you may call them. Those are a nice little accent. Those are one of the most recent things I've added, and it kind of ties together the carbon fiber fenders and the carbon fiber hood. It was just missing a little something right there, and that is a good addition. Now, like I just mentioned, I have a carbon fiber RCF style hood. Super nice. This is my first big carbon fiber purchase, and it changes the whole look of the car completely. And to tie those together, I also have the F-style carbon fiber fenders. And if you guys don't know, this came from my buddy Cody. He had an IS, but unfortunately it got into an accident, and he actually passed these fenders on to me. So thank you again, Cody, if you're seeing this. But without him, I probably wouldn't have these fenders on the car right now. So those two things right there, the hood and the fenders, changed the whole look of the front end. The front end's like 75% carbon fiber now. It's kind of funny, but it looks super aggressive. I love how it looks in the sunlight. It's a little overcast right now, so you can't really tell. But if you check out my Instagram, you'll see a bunch of pictures of it in the sunlight. Now, one cool detail is that the weave of the fender and the weave of the hood are the same exact direction, and they just kind of merge right into each other. And it's one big flowing weave of carbon fiber. That is super clean, and I love that. Speaking of more carbon fiber, when I wrap my roof, I had to do something with this roof antenna. So I could either buy an OEM gloss black one and just replace it. I could try and wrap it gloss black. That's not really what I wanted to do. But instead, I did a carbon fiber roof antenna. Now, I love it. It's been great. It kind of goes with this carbon fiber roof spoiler right here. It's a nice accent. And it also goes well with the carbon fiber Lexus emblem. Now, speaking of my buddy Cody, he also had a carbon fiber trunk. And after the accident, he pried that baby off of the trunk. And to keep the legend of his other IS going, if you guys didn't know, it was also a gray 3IS. I bought this from him. So now I have a couple little parts on my car that used to be on his car, and it's kind of a cool little aspect that not many people know. So I do get a lot of questions about where I get this carbon fiber rear trunk emblem, and that is the story behind it. Now moving on to some lighting. One thing that a lot of people overlook is how the Lexus IS comes with halogen front and rear turn signals. Now I actually replaced the front turn signals with LED ones. So if I go ahead and press the lock, you can see it's a solid and crisp on and off. I'll do it one more time for you. Boom, just like that. Fronts are LEDs, and as well as these beautiful clear mirror turn signals. If I press it once, as you can see, it's LED. And one thing that's pretty cool about these is they have their own dedicated LED in the back. So it, boom, just like that. One quick flash so the people behind you can see that you're turning. Now these are pretty cool. They have a puddle light to them in addition to your existing puddle light, and they have a start up animation. I'll insert a clip right here. And as you can see, they're pretty clean. I'll leave the link for these in the description, of course. I used to have smoked sequential ones, but when I heard about these and saw these, I couldn't pass up the offer. Now, speaking of turn signals and lighting, as you might have noticed when I pressed the turn signal, are these daytime running lights. Now these are a frosted lens, as you can tell. They're not completely see-through like the OEM ones, which is super clean. It's kind of like the newer 21 Plus IS look. And they are sequential, they are RGB, so they have different colors and show modes and all of that. They're amazing. They're obviously a turn signal too, and they're a bright white daytime running light. They are brighter than the OEM one. It is actually pretty cool. Now, I do actually have a video dedicated to the installation of these daytime running lights, as well as a whole review of kind of what all the features do. It's pretty cool. They have their own app. They were pretty game-changing when they came out, because there were no easy plug-and-play replacement for the daytime running light for the IS before these. Now around the same general area, you can probably tell, you're probably like, wait a minute, Mr. Gray 3IS, why are your fog light covers not only gloss black, but they have lights in them? So These are custom triple beam fog lights. Now, a lot of you might know the 2017 through 2020 Lexus IS F Sport did not have any fog light options for it whatsoever. The base model did, the models before it did, but this one did not. So I took the liberty of making a YouTube video showing you how to custom make them for yourself, but I even went above and beyond. I sourced a manufacturer that can make these for me. So they are now injection molded. They are pretty much OEM quality. They are consistent, they are clean. They are one flowing piece of plastic, and they are amazing. So the link for these are gonna be to myself. If you like a set, please feel free to DM me on Instagram. I also offer them in RGB, so they can have different colors, they can have show modes, they can have animations, and it'll still retain the same wiring as these fog lights. Now, speaking of the fog lights, I also make them for the 4IS, so if you're one of those guys, feel free to reach out. But enough of those fog lights. I love them, as you can tell. They were a big thing to me for the longest time, and I still think they fill this little void down there super nicely. Now, speaking of lights, one light that many people have now are these beautiful tail lights. Now, if you remember in my first modification list video, I saw the OEM tail lights. I didn't have these yet. These weren't even released yet. One thing I adored about the new RIS was these style tail lights. And I just was kind of sad that we'd never have it for the 3IS. But when I heard they were coming out, I was the first on the list to pre-order them. And you might have seen them in all my other videos because I've made a lot of videos since I've gotten these. But these are amazing. I love them. These are the smoked ones. There are also a red version, a clear version with red internals, RGB smoked ones, and the newest ones are the RGB clear ones. Those are the ones that look like pretty much full-on clear taillights, and they are pretty cool. Now, I really like these because it's super dark and super sleek, just like my build, and I just really like these. And you can grab them from TanzaWorks, of course. But these alone make the whole rear end super modern, and nowadays more and more manufacturers are going with a big light bar design, and this just keeps the 3IS up to date with those types of cars. Now, my most recent video, if you guys might have saw it, I upgraded the brake pads. So I now have ceramic pads. They're KAX Performance pads. I have the ASP in the front and I have the ACT in the rear, and they are great. They produce such little brake dust, such little brake dust. And the stopping power is really good. They have a good bite to them. They're super smooth. There's no squeaking with them. And for the week and a half, 2 weeks that I've been using them, I absolutely love them. I really recommend them. They're super nice. Now, moving back to the rear, one of my favorite things about the rear is this beautiful license plate. Not the frame from Never Content. That's a nice frame. I love this frame, but the license plate itself. Now, cool story behind this plate. I knew I wanted a custom plate that was related towards my car some way or another, and I tried to get the plate gray, G-R-E-Y. It was unavailable, and I was like, wait, you know, the 3 kind of looks like an E. And the more I thought about it, I was like, wait a minute, gray 3IS, that's me. Gray with a 3 as the E, that's actually even more perfect than G-R-E-Y. So I was like, gosh, I hope that's available. It was available, and I scooped it up, and I've been rocking it for over a year. Custom plates definitely give some personalization to your vehicle, and it's kind of funny, people trying to figure out what your plate means. To a lot of people, they're probably like, gray? Okay, his car is gray, what about it? But for you guys, it's like, if you know, you know, and you know. So I love that plate, and I love that it was available and I was able to grab it. Now, one thing that many people might not consider a mod, same with tint. A lot of people don't consider tint a mod, but for me, if you're changing it, if you're modifying it, I count it as a mod. But for me, was tires. Now, when I first got this car, it had some all-season tires on it that were okay, but they weren't my favorite. Now, I upgraded to some Michelin Pilot Super Sports, and they are awesome. The grip is great. They are super sticky when you need them to be, and they're really good daily driving tires. The road noise is not bad at all, and I just love them. They are still the OEM tire specs, of course, on the OEM wheels, and the fronts have enough quote-unquote stretch to them for me to have this type of fitment, and the rears are super meaty, and I just love everything about these tires. I've had them for about 12,000 miles now, and they have been amazing. And I actually had them installed onto my wheels the same day that I installed RCF lower control arm bushings, and the fronts have no inner tire wear at all. They are perfect. So that just goes to show what some lower control arm bushings can do for the inner tire wear on these vehicles. Man, I gotta say, this overcast lighting is making my window tint look so dark. Jesus. Now, speaking of the side profile, you guys might have noticed I have different side skirts. Now, I originally had some side skirts that kind of molded up the side of the car and was a straight flat flat fin on the bottom, but I really enjoyed these AR style side skirts to go with my lip and my rear spats. In the rear diffuser, they are all now the same styles. And of course I paint matched them. They came a raw black, but now they are the color of my car. If you want to know how to do that, I made a video on how to paint match your own stuff at home, DIY, so go check that out. But these are great. I love them. They fit much better than the other side skirts. They've held up really well and they just fit the car super nicely. Now, speaking of paint matched, you can kind of tell really slightly in the rear, I had this little add-on to my fender. Now, these are RCF fender flares. Now, you might be like, Mr. Gray 3IS, if they're for the RCF, how do you fit them onto your car? Now, they do have a tab attached to them that has a specific RCF mounting point, but if you just snip that tab off, the rest is just 3M tape that it comes with. So they just stick right on and they give this nice little arch to your fender, this little lip, and they come paint matched and they are super clean. I really like these. You don't see them on too many IS, of course, because they're for the RCF. But when you do, you're just like, that person knows. Now under the hood, there are only two things that I've done since my last video. I've done an HPS turbo muffler delete. Now that's this little portion before the charge pipe for your turbo IS people out there. And it gives you a little bit more lower end torque, a little bit more turbo noise. And it's just a good little upgrade. It's pretty inexpensive. I showed you guys how to install it in a previous video. It's a good add-on. Now, speaking of a good add-on, Lexus actually makes an upgraded turbo vacuum line. Now the turbo 4-cylinder model sometimes has this issue where if you beat on the car a little too much and you shut it off before letting it idle or cool down for a second, your turbo solenoid will actually get sticky and you'll notice your boost pressure kind of fluctuates when you're hitting peak boost. Now this upgraded turbo vacuum line will actually prevent that from happening because it's more insulated and the fluid can't heat up as much, and it kind of just prevents it from happening overall. That's a small little OEM Plus edition I did. I'll leave the link and the part number for that in the description for you turbo guys, but you V6 people, you don't have to worry about that. Now moving on to the interior. So I've had this radar detector in this dash cam last time I filmed my video, but what I've done since is, you can tell there's no wires running down everywhere. They are now hardwired. So my dash cam runs up my headliner and down to my fuse box, and it is hardwired to my fuse box. My radar detector is hardwired to my mirror, and they're both mess-free and kind of just floating there. It's pretty nice. Floating there next to my nice Never Content air freshener. I love this air freshener. And one thing about the 2017 Lexus IS and before, that's the year that I have, is 2017, is they recently discontinued the OEM remote start. Now, you used to be able to pay annually or monthly to have the OEM remote start for your car, but it was on a 3G service. And 3G is kind of becoming obsolete, so unfortunately they discontinued it. And only the 2018 Lexus IS models and up have it because they're on the 4G service. So, to cope with that, I got the 12-volt Solutions remote start system. It is a plug-and-play system. It is fairly easy to install. Of course, I'm in an install video. And it has an app for itself, just like the Lexus one. You can remote start it from your key fob, just like the Lexus one. And it's kind of a way just to retain what Lexus took from you. And I've been loving it. It's great. It also shows a GPS location of your car. So if you ever want to check up on your baby, you can see it's sitting right there and it's doing fine. Now, another thing that I absolutely love, which is one of my most recent install videos, is OEM Plus Apple CarPlay. The Lexus IS did not come with Apple CarPlay until 2021, which is crazy. Come on, Lexus, what are you doing? But it's okay. There's this little module that you can add on to your existing screen, and it gives you Apple CarPlay. Not only does it give you Apple CarPlay, but you can retain your OEM infotainment system in case you want to switch back to it. And it's been great. I love it. I love having Waze up there. I love having Spotify up there. And it just makes the interior feel super modern. Now, another thing that I absolutely love are these RCF paddle shifters. Now, these don't only come on the RCF, they also come on the GSF. But one thing super cool about them is they are aluminum. So they are nice metal paddle shifters. They are cold to the touch right now because it's a little cool outside. They have this little blue minus and little blue plus on them. And I absolutely love them. They are a little more clicky, which is super nice. I don't know why they're more clicky than the OEM ones, but they're more clicky. They're also wider. The backs of them are just wider than the original ones for the Lexus IS. So they stick out a little bit more and you can grip them a little easier. And I just love it. I love them. They're great to play with when you're driving. They're great to just rest your hands on. And they're an amazing plug and play easy mod. Another thing that's great, that's from the RCF and GSF, is the start stop button. Now this one caves in instead of outwards like the original Lexus IS one, and like the paddle shifters, it is nice and aluminum. It gets cold when it's cold, it gets hot when it's hot, and it still illuminates, of course, just like the original one. It's just so nice to press every time you get in and get out of the car. It just makes the interior feel much more premium, makes it feel like you're driving an RCF or a GSF or an LC500, and I absolutely love this addition. Now, a couple more things for the interior. You can see they're taking the dirt really nicely, are the Lexus OEM all-weather floor mats. They're a great replacement for the carpet ones. They look nicer, they cover more, and they're super easy to clean. It takes like 5 minutes with a pressure washer and maybe a drill brush attachment, a little soap, and they clean up super nicely. They are great to have. Now, a couple little carbon fiber goodies to add on to what I already have. This airbag cover with the white stitching, the leather, the carbon fiber emblem, it just tied the whole steering wheel together. And I didn't have this for the longest time while owning this steering wheel, and I was like, it'd probably only make a little bit of a difference, and oh my gosh, was I wrong. It just completes it all, and it is so nice, especially when the sun hits that Lexus emblem. Now, of course, you can get this with the OEM Lexus emblem or a gloss black one, or different leather, different stitching, whatever you want, but this one just kind of gives that OEM plus look, which if you know me, that's what I like, is that OEM plus look. So I went with this one. Now, speaking of OEM plus with white stitching, I have the carbon fiber shift knob with white stitching, perforated leather, and it's just beautiful. Just like the paddles, it is nice to touch every time you get in and out of the car. It feels great. It is super nice, super clean, and easy plug and play install, just like the paddles. Now, one thing that not many people do, which they might not even think to do, is I ceramic coated all of my carbon fiber trim. I did that so it doesn't get sun damage as easily, which is always nice to have, but it also rejects fingerprints and dust really nicely, making it super easy to clean. So all this carbon fiber in my interior is pretty much dust-free almost all the time, unless I just really don't clean my interior. Now, one thing I know you guys are gonna ask about is this wireless charger I have right here. I have the cable kind of tucked back there, tucked away, and it runs down there into my center console, but I'll have that linked in the description. It's just a nice place to stick your phone up there real quick. It charges it, it's magnetic, super easy, super nice. So I figured I'd include that because I know many people ask about that. Well, I know I kind of started firing away with them, but there were a decent amount since my last video. And of course, I'll have the whole list of what I just mentioned in the description. I'll also have my link tree that gives you my entirety. So all the ones previous to this video and all the ones in this video and all the ones from here on out, I add to it every time I mod my car. Now, I hope this kind of helps you guys get some ideas of what you can do with the IS. There are many things you can do with the IS that I haven't done. There are many different routes, many different things. Now, one thing that people always ask me if I'm gonna do is change these guys right there, the wheels. Now, I absolutely adore these OEM wheels. I am a huge fan of split 5 spokes. I love split 5 spokes. I don't know if I'd ever get rid of split 5 spokes on my IS, but I do know I will be getting some wheels in the future. It will probably be the near future, actually. I'm not gonna say what they are, but I don't think I'd ever get rid of split 5 spokes on my IS. So that's all I'm gonna say. Do with that information what you will, but yes, I'm gonna get wheels eventually. Yes, I love these wheels. No, I'm not getting rid of these wheels, just like with all my OEM parts. They're just sitting in my house. I'm gonna keep these wheels for spares or maybe something of that sort, but I love these wheels. The color is super nice on the gray, and I made some good fitment with them for what they are, but there's definitely better fitment out there with different wheels, so that's what's leading me towards getting a new set of wheels. Well, as you guys can tell, I love modding this car. It's definitely an addiction. It is super fun. It is great to see your hard work and your passion turn out like this. And really, none of it would be possible without you guys. Your support is what keeps me going, is what makes me motivated, and it just makes me so, so happy. So thank you guys so much for your support. Speaking of support, on Instagram, at gray_3is, I just hit 10,000 subscribers. 10,000. I honestly never thought this would happen. I started my Instagram as a way to kind of document what I was doing with my IS, kind of meet some new people, share some information, and the amount of support that I have from you guys, oh my gosh, thank you so much. It lights up my day every time I receive a like or a follow or a DM from you guys, whether it's a question or a compliment or a comment. I love it every time. So thank you guys. Thank you a million times. I never thought this would happen. and it is crazy that it's happening. It's crazy that it's reality. So really, thank you so much. Now, with that being said, if you guys have any questions, any comments, please leave them in the comments of this video or shoot me a DM on my Instagram. I'll always respond. I'm always on there. If you just want to chat, you want to send some pictures of your car, want to ask some questions, want to show off some stuff that you're doing, please feel free to reach out to me. I'm always on there. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I always love making mod list videos. I haven't done one in 2 years, which is crazy. This is well overdue. I hope you guys enjoy everything I've done. Please leave any advice or comments that you guys have in the comments. I love to hear everything you say. And with that, I appreciate you guys for watching this video. This has been Mr. Gray through IS, and I'll see y'all in the next one.